So this is the response that made me so angry. Really made me angry. Hey folks, today I wanted to share this article that I came across on Facebook. It popped up. It's by SLATE and it's an advice column called Care and Feeding. So the title of this article is "My Ex is Passing on Her Bad Food Habits Onto Our Kids." So of course I had to, open the article and read it because I used to be a fat kid. Ever since I can remember, I remember being overweight. And I remember being different because I was overweight. It was an awful feeling. So I wanted to understand, this father's predicament. It says here, "I'm worried about their weight and she won't listen." So I've read this article already and, I really felt for the dad. He's trying to keep his kids healthy, but the advice from Care and Feeding made me so angry. I think it's some of the worst advice ever when it comes to having kids who are overweight and aren't learning good food habits. So let's just jump in and read this thing. Dear Care and Feeding, my ex-wife and I divorced 3 years ago because of irreconcilable differences. We are fairly amicable, but we don't talk unless it's related to the kids. Well, at least they're not arguing a whole lot in front of the kids and everything. That's a tough situation too. Before COVID, I had weekends and holidays and she had weekdays. My mom has cancer and lives with me. So once the pandemic started, we agreed that the kids would stay at their mom's house for the immediate future. And my mom and I would have Zoom calls with them every day. Now for some context, my ex has been overweight for pretty much her entire life, even as a young child. So his ex understands what it's like to be an overweight kid. And like I said, it's not a great experience. Her parents were overweight and they passed down their habits to her, as so it often goes. And yes, it really does go that way. If your parents have bad eating habits, they're going to pass those on to their kids because they don't know any better. And even if they do, those habits are ingrained unless they make big life changes, unless they've changed their food identity and their relationships with food, they're going to pass those down. By the time we met, she was 250 pounds. Throughout our relationship, I encouraged her to take steps towards a healthier lifestyle, but she never wanted to. And that's the thing. I say it all the time. You can't force other people to change. They have to have that desire to change within themselves, and then they have to make sure it's a change that's sustainable so that they can keep making that change. Our kids, 7 and 10 years old, were on the heavy side of an average weight while my ex and I were still married. When we were together, I did most of the cooking and did my best to make sure that my kids ate nutrient-dense, healthy food, and that junk food was kept as an occasional treat. I believe in that so much. Even on keto, I have my treats, but I really keep it to like a week or a weekend. But like Monday through Friday, I do so good. I restrict, I count those calories. And then on the weekend, I go lazy. Crazy. Then on the weekend, I go lazy keto. I don't measure as much. I eat out, I enjoy myself. But it's a sustainable method that works for me for weight maintenance. And I taught keto because that's what I used to lose weight. If you don't know, I used to weigh 320 pounds. Ugh. But yes, even on keto, we have our treats, but we got to make sure that we don't overindulge. They're treats for a reason. They're not every day. If you have it every single day, it's not a treat. In my opinion, that's just how I do. As we have been separated though, my kids have slowly gotten more and more overweight. I feel bad for them. I really do. It started gradually when we first separated, but COVID changed all of that. My ex keeps lots of chips and candy and unhealthy snacks in the house, which they graze on throughout their days. And she hates cooking, so they often get fast food or things like Kraft Dinner. So I've made a whole video on where you can actually eat out on fast food and maintain a calorie deficit. You just have to know how to do it. But it is so much easier to just eliminate wasted calories when you do cook at home. So it is helpful to learn how to cook if you want to lose weight and maintain weight loss. They've always been snackers and both eat when they're bored. So all that snacking is a lot of empty calories in their diets. They haven't been getting the chance to be physically active since they've been stuck at home all day. It's an apartment, so no backyard or anything. Yeah, so my boyfriend's pretty slender. He's just naturally a slender guy. And so I've noticed that his eating habits and his relaxing habits are so different from mine. He just likes to be active. He likes to go do things, whether it's playing pool or bowling or riding a motorcycle or just being out in the backyard doing things. And for me, when I get off work, I just want to plop down on the couch and do absolutely nothing. And so when COVID was a thing, I just noticed that I was laying around a lot. And if you're working from home, it's hard to be active because you're just kind of stuck to that couch. And so if you're a kid at home during COVID and you're studying and you're just sitting there, you're not even walking the hallways of your school, it's tough. And yeah, I can definitely see how the weight piled on. I really had to watch my weight and make sure that I was really tracking those calories when COVID first happened because we were out of school and I was stuck at home too. 5 months ago, they had a pediatrician visit and my 10-year-old was in the 92nd percentile for her age, almost obese. 10 years old, almost obese. Just think of the health issues that child is going to have to battle if they keep that obesity up into their 40s and 50s. If they don't learn those good food habits now, if they don't learn to control, their urges to eat and control their food temptations. About 2 months ago, my mom and I got vaccinated, so we started having the kids back 3 days a week, and they both gained even more weight since then. The sad thing is they realize the changes and they don't like them. When I picked up the kids last week, my 10-year-old was crying because a classmate taunted her for her weight. Yes, kids are mean. If you're different, you're going to be ridiculed for it. If you're not the norm, you're going to be ridiculed for it. Now, I'm not saying that we should just learn to deal with that. We should teach our kids, to be better. But I just feel like as a parent, you want to give your kid the best opportunities to succeed, to be happy, to have a great life. So when you don't, regulate something like their weight, when you just let them eat whatever they want, all the junk food, I just don't understand. My parents let it happen to me, even though they knew that I wanted to lose weight. And so I love my parents, but also I wish that they had regulated my weight a little bit better and taught me better food habits when I was a kid. Because even though I've lost all the weight, I still have the remnants of being fat all my life. You're never gonna see Allie in a bikini. I don't know, it just makes me sad. I feel bad. Makes me angry. My ex is not responsive to making changes regarding this. I have tried several times to no avail. When they're here, I've been trying to reinstill healthy eating habits, but it's hard. They aren't used to the things I make, like chicken, turn up their noses at it and beg for the kinds of things their mom gives them, or ask to go for fast food. And any progress I make gets wiped out after 4 days with their mom. Yeah, it's got to be something that's long-term and sustainable. What kid, has that mental capacity to be like, I'm going to change my relationship with food? What 7-year-old or 10-year-old is going to say that? It's the parent that needs to do that. Their mom has gained a lot of weight too. She looks like she might be over 300 pounds by now. Call me a fat shamer or whatever. But I know that bad eating habits start in childhood, and most fat kids become fat adults. Yeah, happened to me. Happens to everybody, probably. I want to nip this in the bud now, but I just don't know what to do, either to get my ex to understand the problem and change her habits, or to get my kids to be healthy weights again. He knows that he's setting up his kids for a harder life. Being overweight affects your health. It affects your confidence. It affects the way that other people view you. He understands this. And I'm sure that the mom understands it too. If she's been overweight and is still gaining weight, I'm sure she's not happy about that. I'm sure that, if she's in her 30s or 40s, she's probably starting to have some health issues. I'm just guessing. But if you're 300 pounds, probably like he said, you're going to start to feel it. I was at my highest weight when I was 24. I was still relatively very young and I was feeling it. I couldn't go up a flight of stairs without being winded. I didn't want to walk from the parking lot to the grocery store. So even though you don't feel the awful effects yet, you definitely know that something's not quite right. So this is the response that made me so angry. Really, really made me angry. It says, "Dear Dad, I'm going to take you up on your offer to call you a fat shamer or whatever. You are fat shaming your kids." No, he's not fat shaming his kids. He wants his kids to be healthy. He's not calling them ugly. He's not saying that they deserve less in life. He wants them to have the best in life. He wants them to have a fulfilling life and a long life. Your attitude won't help them change their bodies into smaller bodies, but it will make them unhappier and could lead to serious health problems, mental and physical, both now and down the road into adulthood. He's not even having an attitude. He feels sad. Sad is what I'm getting from his post. He feels sad that his kids are being set up to fail later on in life, that they're being set up for an unhealthy life. First, the facts. Weight and health don't have as much to do with each other as we have all been taught to think. Yeah, okay, sorry. If your kids wind up 350 pounds, they're gonna have health problems by the time they're in their 30s. It's just the way it is. I had high blood pressure when I was 24 years old. And I know that because I went to nursing school. And we had to check each other's blood pressure. And mine was higher than everybody else's because I was the fattest person there at 24. No, it was even before that because I quit nursing school. It was hard. I must have been about 22. 22 in nursing school. High blood pressure. There are many unhealthy thin people and many healthy fat people. Okay, I get that there are unhealthy thin people, but you're not helping your case by being overweight or being obese. If you're unhealthy thin, you're probably going to be even more unhealthy as an overweight or obese person. Being bigger doesn't automatically mean that your kids aren't healthy. I wonder what else your pediatrician said about their health besides that limited percentile metric. They are growing and they are hungry. Listen. I was like 5'9" in 5th grade, 4th grade. And I was obese, okay? So just because, I don't know, if they're, even shorter than I was and they were obese, I feel so bad for these kids. They're already probably like stretching out skin that will never bounce back. And if they let that happen over a few more years, that skin is never going back. They will never feel confident, probably. I mean, I'm just going off of my own experiences. But I had loose skin by the time I was in middle school and I hated it. And I knew even then if I was gonna lose weight, I would still have this problem. Whatever, I'm getting real heated. They are growing and they are hungry. They're also living in very difficult circumstances without a lot of social contact or opportunity to move their bodies. If they've been seeking comfort in food, that seems like an understandable response to the pandemic, and I'm glad they have a source of comfort. Oh, it's like saying if somebody's finding comfort in alcohol, then that's okay because we're in a pandemic. It blows my mind that this person thinks that this is good advice and would say this. I know alcoholism's a bad disease, but I believe that people are addicted to food because they use it for things other than satiating hunger, like physical hunger. They use it for comfort. They use it when they're stressed instead of having better coping mechanisms. They use it to, just have something good happen to them. Well, maybe they should change their circumstances. And I know that it's easier said than done, but maybe they should learn other ways than using food to cope. And I still sometimes struggle with that, but I think that if you're gonna try and be healthier, if you want to lose weight, you're gonna have to change your relationship with food, but you really do have to understand we eat to live, not live to eat. Your kids aren't going to be living totally constrained lives with no emotional outlet except snacks forever. Their lives and yours will gradually return to normal. Okay, so yeah, the pandemic will end one day, hopefully, but they are at that age when they are learning important food habits. They need to learn what real food tastes like. They need to understand that junk food should be a treat and not something to have all the time, every day. You got to set up these kids so that they have good food habits as adults. When you describe your wife and her parents and your kids' bodies as overweight, and place the blame on their bad habits, you are ignoring the fact that people come in all different shapes and sizes and that a lot of that variation is genetically predetermined. Okay, but why is overweight in quotes if these kids are basically obese when they're 7 and 10 years old? I don't understand why overweight is something that's being quoted like it's not real. Yeah, bad habits have to do with being overweight. If you don't eat real food, if all you eat is junk food, that's a bad habit, okay? And it's gonna cause you to be overweight. I'm sorry. I understand that people come in different shapes and sizes. Yeah, some people have, different sized bodies and all the stuff. Some people are different heights. Some people have broad shoulders, but having an amount of fat that is unhealthy, I understand. I get that maybe genetics, will cause you to put on weight easier, but you still have to fight that, right? You still need to do the things that you can to be healthy in spite of that. It's very easy for some people to maintain a low weight, and their ability to do so might not have much to do with how they eat or exercise. False. When we valorize low body weight and treat it as a goal, we're ignoring the myriad of other factors that contribute to overall health. It's as arbitrary as assigning blue eyes, curly hair, or double jointedness some kind of inherent more value. Okay, I understand that as a society, we shouldn't judge people by the way that they look. Totally get that. I agree. We should not be any different to people who look different, but there is value in being healthy because you get to live longer. If you're saying that living longer isn't good, well, I don't know. I guess we can't have this argument. If living longer and having less health issues is not inherently good, then I don't know what to say. I feel like living a long, healthy lifestyle is a good thing. You aren't obligated to change the way you shop and cook, but you must stop trying to get your ex to change your kid's diet. Stop judging her food choices and her body. You say you can tell your daughter doesn't like her weight because she complains about being made fun of by a classmate. The problem is her classmate, not her weight. Okay, I do agree. The classmate shouldn't be making fun of people. But what are you going to do when that daughter grows up to be a 25-year-old, 30-year-old and wants to have a kid but can't because weight will affect fertility? And so this young woman who has dreamed of having a family one day, maybe that's her prerogative, can't have a baby. And because she has such poor eating habits and she believes that, you know what, she's fine even though she can't have a baby because her weight is affecting her fertility, you know, you're causing all these issues that can arise in the future. I'm not saying that all skinny people have perfect fertility, but I'm saying weight affects things other than just, you know, what we look like. Please, please, if you change nothing else as a response to this letter, make sure that your kid knows that her body is not a problem. Even if you don't believe this yet, fake it till you make it. Take time to educate yourself about anti-fat bias and intuitive eating because you need this information in order to parent children who are truly healthy inside and out at any size. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, don't tell your kid, hey, daughter, you're fat. People think you're ugly. People are just gonna make fun of you forever for it. Like, yes, don't shame your daughter, but also don't allow your daughter to have bad food habits that will affect her health and her lifestyle in the future. Intuitive eating, okay, all right. Y'all, intuitive eating, if you just think of the phrase, I know that there's like whole books out there that talk about an actual process, but if you just tell somebody who probably hasn't read a book on intuitive eating to just let your kids eat intuitively, you know, let them stop when they're full. Do you know what it takes for a fat person to feel full? Fat people, like I used to be, love food so much that we would only stop when we got uncomfortably full and nothing else would go down unless we felt sick, okay? That's intuitive eating to a lot of people who are overweight. So if you just say, eat intuitively, eat till you're full, eat till you're satisfied. Satisfaction is so subjective. I have such an issue with that. So when you do have a skewed view of satisfaction, that's when you do need to like come in with some logic and cut out some calories and log your food and measure it. Anyway, okay, I'm done ranting. I had to share this because I thought it was some of the worst advice that I've read in a long time. But what do you guys think? Do you side with the father or do you side with the person who responded from Care and Feeding? I don't have a name, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I got a little emotional. I identify with his kids. You know, I was like 6. I remember trying to, you know, wear the clothes that all the other kids were wearing and they didn't look quite right on me. I didn't feel confident in those clothes. And by the time I was in elementary, middle school, I did have some loose skin because I had been obese since I can remember. I was a fat kid. And that's something that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life and I don't like it. It is a parent's responsibility to make sure that their kid has the best life that they can give them, right? You may not be able to give a child the perfect life. Nobody can. But why not set them up for success? I feel like that's what love is. Trying giving this other person the best life. Doesn't mean give them everything they want, but make them into good people who are set up to succeed, to live happily and healthily. Anyway, those are just my 2 cents about those types of things. But again, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to like and subscribe. That would help me out so much. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I will link all of that down below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Allie. Have a good one. Bye.